Okay, the ulna, as I mentioned previously in the video on the radius, ulna has a U-shaped notch. This is the more medial forearm bone. You've got the trochlear notch. Sometimes it's referred to as the semilunar notch. You can see how that's going to articulate with the trochlea. A little difficult to see there. It's difficult for me to hold this and show you at the same time, but anyhow, it's going to articulate like that. Actually, this is a left humerus, and this is actually a right ulna, so it's not going to articulate right, that bone. Anyhow, trochlear notch, you have the two processes, the olecranon process and the coronoid process. Both those processes, they grip the trochlea to form the hinge joint. So think of the olecranon process, that's what people call the elbow, or refer to as the elbow. So you have the olecranon process, coronoid process, trochlear notch, which is the actual hinge joint, part of the hinge joint. You have the head of the radius, head of the ulna, and you have the styloid process. The styloid process is the attachment site for the ulnar collateral ligament of the wrist joint. And the head's going to articulate with the radius, as well as the radial notch. See how nice and round that radial notch is? Right there. That's going to articulate with the head of the radius. And I do want you to be able to tell left and right. It's fairly easy. If you know this is the more medial forearm bone, you know that your radius is going to be located laterally. So you know your olecranon process is going to go in the back. So orient that down, put that in the back, posterior. But anyhow, there's the joint surface, the trochlear notch, olecranon process. Look at the ulnar notch. We know that this is going to be the more medial forearm bone. This is the right radius. We already established that earlier. So these two surfaces are going to articulate, as well as down here, the distal end. You can see where I have the head of the ulna articulating with the ulnar notch on the radius. Up here we have the head of the radius articulating with the radial notch on the ulna. So it goes like that. And you can see how that rotates in there. So this would be a right ulna. So trochlear notch or semilunar notch, take either or. The olecranon process, which is your elbow. Coronoid process. I have my radial notch. I have the head of the ulna with the styloid process. And this will be a left. I'm sorry, this is a right. I'm sorry, it's late. Anyhow, this is a right. If it was a left, if this was the more medial forearm bone, you can see that would not be able to articulate with the head of the radius. So this is a right, as well as a right radius.